One question that's been coming up with increasing urgency in this campaign is, why is Newt Gingrich staying in this race? Recently, he revealed that he was firing a third of his campaign staff, including his campaign manager. We've learned that he has more debt than cash on hand. And a new poll showed that 60% of Republican voters actually think Gingrich should get out of the race. And so reporters are asking the question, well, why is he staying? And there are a couple answers, I think. One of which has to be that on some level, Gingrich still believes that he has at least a shot of winning the nomination. He knows he's not going to get the required number of delegates going into the Republican convention, but he also thinks that there's at least a chance that Mitt Romney won't get to that number either, and that if that happens, he will have the chance to go in and persuade some delegates to come over to his side. The other point that I think has to be made in a situation like this is that it is actually just really hard to pull the plug on a presidential campaign. Gingrich pointed out that nearly 200,000 people have contributed to his campaign so far, and he feels a certain amount of obligation to them. I also think in his case, it probably has been a lifelong ambition to run for president, and it's really hard to turn your back on something like that, particularly if you think you're probably not going to get another shot at it. Another question that has often come up with Gingrich in this campaign is the extent to which he is also thinking through what his options in the future might be if he does not win the presidency, and whether or not his campaign is actually helping or hurting his future bottom line. And I think to some extent you could argue that it is still probably helping. He's done a number of book signings throughout this campaign that have sort of dovetailed with campaign events, and his wife has done some book signings as well. She's a children's book author. And so as long as he's able to keep going and get a certain amount of attention, he says he's going to focus on a social media strategy going forward, then it's probably only helping him retain a certain amount of visibility that will help him to sell books and keep his speaking fees high going forward. The final point I think that must be made is that there's been a lot of speculation that Gingrich is staying in out of a sense of revenge to simply try to deny Romney the nomination. And Gingrich has been quite irritated when reporters have asked him about this recently. And he has said flat out that he will happily support Mitt Romney once Romney gets the nomination, but that he just thinks it's premature to do so before Romney has actually secured the nomination outright. He says he's not acting out of a vendetta, that he will be perfectly happy to line up behind Romney. He just thinks that the season, as he put it, he compared it to a sports season, that the season isn't over and that reporters and everyone else should allow it to play itself out to the finale.